right, so mic check, mic check. Pretty much, I've been studying myself a little bit. And listen, guys, I know we talk about love and light on this channel, and that's my Mars in Cancer, but my Mercury is in Scorpio, and I've known that for a while. And excuse me, life has caused me to really go inward and see, you know, what am I really doing? What am I doing with my energy? And one of the things that I really enjoy is occult knowledge, right? Esoteric knowledge and Mercury and Scorpio, not to give you an astrology lesson, but if you want me to talk about astrology on this channel, let me know down in the comments. Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and I will start doing astrology 101. But long story short, Mercury and Scorpio represents detective energy. I know when there's a lie, I know when something's not right, and it'll never ever get by me. Or that archetype, that alignment, right? So first and foremost, I want to thank this creator. I think it's the Quartering, or I forget your name, but hopefully it's okay if I use your content just to kind of spread awareness on my channel. And if there's any issue, please let me know. I'm definitely going to reach out. But here we go. Let's get into this. The DC crash. There's been a lot of stuff going on, and we still got a day and some change left in January. There was a crash. I think also in Korea. I forgot what flight number it was, but it killed over 100 Korean passengers, and a lot's going on right now. So let's get into and see what this brother has to say.
Already done the stick to the facts version of this video, talking about what happened with a passenger jet colliding with a military helicopter in DC late last night. As far as we know now, there were no survivors. 14 of the U.S. ice skating team was on that plane. It just keeps getting worse.
What?
And, I think,
14 of the U.S. ice skating team were on that plane? Oh, my gosh. Rest in peace. First of all, second of all, third of all, rest in peace to all the people, families, friends that were impacted in this. My heart goes out to you, really, truly.
I look at all lives as equal. It's still, 70 people. But I do think it's worth having a conversation about how wokeness, has just cost lives. I do believe that, when something like this happens, everyone wants to blame it. Everyone wants to politicize it. But I think with air traffic control, I don't think it's quite jumping to conclusions. This has been something that has been brewing for some time. This is a entry-level mistake, a mistake that, while not impossible, okay, it's not impossible that, that something like this would happen, but it is extremely unlikely. So some people might say, you say.
Also, by the way, dope Ghostbusters Lego in the back. That is fire. I just have to point that out.
Hey, 1 in a million. Well, 1 in a million just happened. That's possible. But allow me to make the case for why I believe that maybe it should have been 1 in 2 or 4 or 5 million instead of 1 in a million, based on the woke DEI practices of air traffic control. This is a great time to bring it up. They are responsible for all residential air traffic, okay? My wife's a pilot. My best friend's a pilot. I'm familiar with ATC. I'm familiar with how it works. Most people don't even know that most of ATC isn't even on site at that airport, okay? They're off in some remote facility underground. It's one of the highest stress jobs imaginable, probably in the top 5 in the world. It is prone to human error, and with more flights now than ever, the likelihood only increases. So why wouldn't you be hiring the best person for the job? Here is the Federal Aviation Administration talking about the skin color and gender identity of air traffic controllers.
Hi, I'm Brad Mims, Deputy Administrator at the Federal Aviation Administration. We are looking for the best and brightest to join us as air traffic controllers.
Good.
We need a diverse group of air traffic controllers to bring distinct perspectives.
Diverse?
This just reminds me of what they were doing, I think, weeks ago, if not a month ago, with the firefighters. And I believe this is in California, where they were. I'm not going to go in too much detail, and I'm not going to, point any fingers, but they were proclaiming that they needed a different type of firefighter. And, one of the quotes that this actual firefighting chief of LA was saying was that, well, if your husband's in a fire and you need me to save them, or if their husband's in a fire and they need help, they probably shouldn't have been in that fire. And, when I was looking through what people thought about it, and even as I reflected in my own thoughts, it's like, what? Like, first of all, that's a crazy statement to say. If your husband's in a fire, he probably shouldn't have been in that fire. And second, it's like, where, and, this is a rhetorical question, but where is all this out of left field type of, I don't even know what to call it. Where is all this coming from? Why? And we know what it's coming from. There's a narrative being played, but I just wanted to bring that up real quick.
Handle the ever-changing aerospace.
No. You had it right. You need the best and brightest. Now, if that happens to be diverse, great. But the diversity of that group is irrelevant.
Landscape.
You're talking about hundreds of people's, tens of thousands of people's lives every single day. Rely on you doing your job the best. I don't care if you're purple.
I'm calling on
That's
students
right.
and alumni from HBCUs, Hispanic serving institutions,
okay.
and tribal colleges to apply now.
Why not white people? By the way, did you know the Federal Aviation Administration was sued for passing over better qualified white employees, white air traffic controllers specifically? We're going to get to that.
To become air traffic controllers. I don't want anyone interested to miss out on this amazing career opportunity.
Oh, he sounds excited.
Make sure you complete your full application during our application window. The short application window ends on May 8th.
House.
That
brother.
seems unlikely.
House.
Because air traffic control is dealing with massive shortages. Here's an article from not even a year ago. The Federal Aviation Administration turned away qualified air traffic controllers because they were white. The disturbing rise in near misses at our nation's airports is no accident. A class action lawsuit by Mountain States Legal Foundation has amassed a trove of documents shedding a new light on Obama-era Federal Aviation Administration initiative that rejected prospective air traffic controllers solely based on being white. The 2013 FAA document, Controller Hiring by the Numbers, raised the issues in stark terms, asking how much of a change in job performance is acceptable to achieve a diversity goal. Literally what? At the beginning of the year, 5 people died at Tokyo's Haneda Airport after a jumbo jet carrying 379 travelers hit a smaller Coast Guard plane that had mistakenly entered the runway. It's the job of air traffic control to keep that from happening. There hasn't been a fatal crash in the United States since 2009. That's 15 years. It's only a matter of time before the streak ends. The FAA recorded 2 serious near misses, runway incursions at Reagan National and Baltimore International last year. What a coincidence. Vigilance is waning because the nation's air traffic control towers are woefully understaffed. The people responsible for keeping planes from smashing into one another are tired after working long days, mandatory overtime shifts to make up for lack of controllers. Contributing to the shortage, the FAA temporarily put on the brakes at hiring in 2012 so it could replace race-blind hiring rules with a biographical assessment statogram designed to hire more minorities. The quiz served as further screening of applicants who had already graduated from a 200-hour training program and achieved a high score on their AT-SAT, a grueling 8-hour cognitive test that measures each of the specific skills needed to do the job properly. The questionnaire sought irrelevant information, such as the college subject in which I received my lowest grade. The answering history, political science received 15 points. Playing 4 or more sports in high school was worth 5 points. By contrast, holding a pilot's license, a major advantage for an air traffic controller, was only worth 2 points. And having valuable experience in air traffic controller in the military was worth 0 points. I mean, just think about that. If you're a pilot, 2 points. If you actually worked ATC, 0 points. Andrew Brigida became a lead plaintiff in a lawsuit after his application was turned down despite him achieving a perfect 100% score on the ATSAT. Mr. Brigida's attorneys claimed that there was a method to the madness. Race hustling activist groups conspire with FAA officials to create the quiz so they could let their members know in secret anyone could pass the biographical assessment by answering A to all but one of the questions. So they set up the test in a way that they could be passed on to these race hustlers to tell people, hey, just answer A to everything and you're gonna get the job. Now the trial starts this summer, but this is a real thing. I'm not making this up, right? Here is Donald Trump on the topic.
The FAA, which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg, a real winner. That guy's a real winner. Do you know how badly everything's run since he's run this Department of
Ask Ohio.
Transportation?
Excuse me.
He's a disaster. He was a disaster as a mayor. He ran his city into the ground, and he's a disaster now. He's just got a good line of bullshit.
Uh-huh.
The FAA,
Yep, he's right.
which is overseen by
Now is a time for mourning. I think from a president, I think it's understanding. There's some understanding, in wanting the president to do that, but also it's probably worth pointing out why this happened. Here's him responding to reporters.
Today blamed the diversity elements, but then told us that you weren't sure that the controllers made any mistake. You then said perhaps the helicopter pilots were the ones who made the mistake.
It's all under investigation.
I understand that. That's why I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right
Let me turn
now
this
that
up.
diversity had something to do with this crash.
because I have common sense.
Yep.
Okay, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't.
It's not just diversity, it's forced diversity. I don't care if all my ATC controllers are black and Asian, if they're the best for the job. And so the dishonest media will say, well, what do you have an issue with black people? No, I don't care if my pilot.
And it's so funny because I'm writing things down, and this is one of the things I'm going to bring up at the end of the video.
It's black. I don't care if my ATC is black or purple or whatever. I just want them to be the best. I want the best person for the job.
We want brilliant people doing this.
Correct.
This is a major chess game at the highest level. When you have 60 planes coming in during a short period of time, and they're all coming in different directions, and you're dealing with very high-level computer work and very complex computers. And one of the other things I will tell you is that the systems that were built, I was going to rebuild the entire system, and then we had an election that didn't turn out the way it should have.
Yeah.
Today blamed the diversity element.
It's not known.
I used to train a husband and wife not too long ago, within the last like 6 or 7 years. And the husband was air traffic control sitting in the tower over here, not too far away from where I live. And, he was a very laid back gentleman, very, how do I say this, stoic. And, but he did say that you need to be ready, you need to be on. This is not a joke. Obviously, we know that they have people's lives in literally pretty much in their hands, in their eyes, however you want to coin it. But he said that this is no joke, and you need to be aware, you need to be on your toes 24/7, because just what he said, there's 60 planes, or there's a lot of planes coming in simultaneously, especially, if it's a airport like LAX, or if it's an airport that's in New York, or, any populated area.
Right now, I think it's fair to say, hey, we don't know for sure. We don't. And 1 in a million still happens. Somebody wins the lottery every week, all right? But when somebody wins a lottery, 100 people don't die. A lot of people are talking about, hey, we have evidence of air traffic control turning away highly qualified people because they were white. this is an irrefutable fact. Okay. The fact that, you are not white and you work at ATC does not mean you're unqualified. But it does open the door to these questions. And I don't think it's anybody's fault that people ask these questions.
Lower than ever before. I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first.
They did.
And they put politics at a
Wokeness.
level that nobody's ever seen, because this was the lowest level. Their policy was horrible, and their politics was even worse. So as you know, last week, long before the crash, I signed an executive order restoring our highest standards for air traffic controllers and other important jobs throughout the country. So it was very interesting. About a week ago, almost upon entering office, I signed something last week that was an executive order, very powerful, on restoring the highest standards of air traffic controllers.
I mean, the fact that leftist media is trying to blame Trump for this is bonkers. I highly doubt any ATC agents were hired under Trump's administration. I guarantee none of them were hired under his rules. Could this have been 1 in a million? Absolutely.
Sure.
Could DEI and woke hiring practices led to that? I absolutely believe so. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Awesome video. Let's take, I'm pretty sure that's Pelosi. Let's take her off of this screen. Here, I'm going to bring up this guy's channel just so we give him a little bit of love. And again, I appreciate you in advance, the quartering, for letting me share this with my following. So there's a couple things that I want to talk about. And before I get into it, I'm really going to be talking in a way, because you can't say too much, especially this is on YouTube. So let's just get this right. Let's get this straight. And shout out to Kanye West, shout out to Nick Fuentes, shout out to what's your boy's name? Hey, they're gonna get us right now. Oh, they're gonna get us, the aliens are probing our brains. I forget his name, leave it in the comments. But there is, I don't know if is or are is the correct way, but there is a group of people that have not only said on video, but literally have documented that their plan is to pit all of the races against each other. Not only that, but to also make all of these races like one another, so by the time they hit 100 years, probably it's going to take a little longer, that no one knows who they are and where they're from, right? To kind of water down everyone's culture into one, everyone's race into one, right? Kind of sounds like the one government, one world order, right? So I want to start off by saying that, and just do a little research and you'll know who I'm talking about. Okay. Oh, I guess I did put that right here at the top. So there's a group of people that want to pit all races, especially black and white, against each other, right? But it's all races. But I say black and white because that's been the narrative for how long, right? It's been the narrative for the last 400 years. What did Kanye say? But more so, I'd say the last 100 years especially, right? And in doing this, you cause divide. When you cause divide, it's really easier for you to take over not only a country, not only the world, but the minds of the masses of people. So I want to just say that first, and I believe that this is part of that plan, right? And the reason why I believe is because I find it ironic that now, just like I mentioned before with the firefighting, I find it ironic that they are making a push for, let's get diverse, let's get black, Mexican, and natives into this role, right? And this is as soon as what happened in with Floyd in forget what it was, but BLM. Why? Of course, we see all these different commercials, and now they got blacks in every commercial versus before it was more so white. Again, it's not a black or white thing, it's an us thing, right? So I find it interesting that now they're going, oh, let's we want diverse employees, especially at a level like this. I'm not saying my brothers or my brothers or and sisters or my brothers from another race aren't capable of doing this, but what I am saying is that this is a play where they do something like this, and then now perfectly, because now they asked Trump, is it a black thing? Is it because black people were the ones at the air traffic control? And they're pushing narratives like this because they like, oh, now it's the black people. Oh, the black people are doing this, and now that comes with a whole bunch of ridicule if your first eye is still closed, if you're not able to really see the truth, right? So it's just ultimately another way to cause divide, right? Now I want to get a little deeper. Who owns the media, right? Who owns the media? And to really answer that question, I'm not even going to pull up the chart because I want this video to get out. And to even answer that question, I want you to Google who runs your brain. And it's a nice chart. It should be colorful, but really it's a lot of red, which the red are the people who I'm talking about at the beginning of my concluding dialogue here. And then there's a few other colors. There's some blue, there's some green sprinkled in there. So when you really sit back and who owns all of these news stations, CBS, SBC, ABCD, Fox, all of these news stations, who owns them, right? Wherever your attention goes, energy flows. They could tell us so many different good things that happen in the world, but yet we are left with what we see, right? Or what has been shown. Okay. Two other things that I would like to add is that Trump, he's a puppet at the end of the day. I'm not saying he's a good person. I'm not saying he's a bad person, but what I am saying that he knows probably, and this is just a rough estimate, he knows around 50 to 70% of what's really going on, and that other 50 to 30% is crucial, which almost outweighs what he does know, right? So I forget who I was listening to the other day, but they were saying that they're putting Trump into this place. Obviously, they're putting Trump into office, or anyone. It could have been Kamala. It could have been anyone. And they need someone to blame, right? They need a commissioner of the country, so they need someone to blame, when in actuality, it's impossible for him to know each avenue, whether it be the health industry, which is getting crazy with AI, whether it be politics in general, right? Foreign relations, whether it be economy, all of these different aspects of what we call life, what we live in, right? It's literally impossible to cover all of these different aspects. So, to have a president and to like blame the president is just already a super red flag. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention was that there was somebody, and let me just pull it up real quick, because there was somebody claiming that there was no helicopter at all. There was no helicopter at all, and I'm going to bring this up real quick. I think it's Praying and Begging for Mercy Daily. Okay.
Watching
The American Airlines flight collided with an Army Black Hawk helicopter, an area that often the river. The last tracking point we found,
and then I thought the shit gonna stop
Here we
to
go.
0, but that motherfucker had to start at like 10 or 5 minutes. I hate YouTube. Anyway,
I love YouTube.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rachak, Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the
I picked up on, but he picked up on, but I ain't think nothing a whole lot about it. But ultimately, I know it's just.
as always, peace, blessings. 24 hours. You should get in at 93. Dismissed as being,
Sorry,
Using
give
their
me 1
lives.
second. Just real
you know,
quick.
they ended
clip.
up that clear that Here, so let's listen to this one real quick.
Plane, and it looked fine and normal. It was right about to head over land, maybe 120 feet above the water. It looked like a fairly, a small end but normal sized passenger jet. and it looked normal. It was level. So I looked back at the road, and then I looked back again just to see if I could maybe see it land. And this was 3 seconds later, and at that point it was banked all the way to the right. I would say maybe past the right, past 90 degrees. I could see the underside of it. It was lit up a very bright yellow, and there was a stream of sparks underneath it. It looked like a Roman candle if you've ever held one of those on the 4th of July, but it was much, much bigger than that. It was high off the ground. I didn't see anything beyond that. I didn't see any helicopter. It's a very, very dark night out tonight, so anything that's not illuminated you can't really see. So I didn't see the other aircraft, but I saw the plane banking at an angle that a plane shouldn't bank, and I saw sparks flying.
So that's TikTok too. So, which TikTok I don't really feel is safe as it used to be ever since the shutdown. But yeah, that's just another perspective. It'll be interesting to see how this story develops, just because I don't think it's even been 24 hours yet. I think it's, this is quite recent. So yeah, guys, tell me what you think about this whole situation. Again, my condolences to the people who lost their lives, especially the families and the friends and the loved ones. But it's 2025 January. It's a very interesting year, and I encourage everybody to stay grounded, to definitely stay balanced. I'm not going to be doing stuff like this all day, as far as like I'm not just listening to content like this all day, but I do feel an urgency within myself to not only read up on it and really get down to the bottom of it, but also share a little bit of that. So if you guys like videos like this, please let me know down in the comments. Definitely like this video if you want to help the channel grow, and last but not least, subscribe to the YouTube. We're going up, 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 up this year, and it's already done. Love and light to all, and to all love and light. I'll see y'all in the next one. Take care.